All right. Welcome back to the conversation. Mm. So, now that we're getting things back on track, I did request a couple weeks ago for people to send in their commission sheets, and I would do a little bit of a look over, see how things we could actually improve on them. How could they be a little bit more clear, and how we could reach more clients. So, when I thought about this video, I thought it would only take one video, but looking at it, it's gonna be broken into 2 or 3 parts. This will be the first part. I'm going to review what you guys have sent in one by one. I'm going to take a look over it, and then next week I'm going to show you how to build your own commission sheet from scratch. So, without anything further, let's get started. Let me bring up our entries here. Okay. And we did get quite a few. Make sure I didn't lose it here. All right. So let's swap over to the scene. And there we go. Just like that. All right. So first one I got it from Vandalite. When he sent this over, I took a quick look over it, and I want to say number one, I like the color scheme. You got great colors going on with the back and with the bottom and the light blue and the navy blue kind of feel. But secondly, I want to say with this commission sheet, you have a lot of dead space that isn't really necessary or needed for this actual piece. So what we got going here is this dead space on both sides, and you're making the text very small when it doesn't need to be. Now, the formatting, I love because this is Twitter formatting. Formatting is something I'll get into in next week's video about formatting your content to the social media source that you're actually looking at. Let me go ahead and kill that. So first off, you got your branding, 2D logo, Twitter, YouTube banner. He has the breakdowns for each and everything. And this is really good. This is a really good start off right here. One thing I will say about this is this looks visually like unbalanced. So you got this small amount of information here and this large information in the center, and this information is not really quite balanced. And then there goes bronze, silver, gold. I see what you're doing with the tier system. I think it might be a little bit visually confusing to some other people. So because it looks like bronze and silver might be on the same level, you may want to go bronze, silver, gold to the far right. And last thing I'm going to say about this is this stacking also works against you because it cut off a little bit of your text here. It's kind of a bad thing when you're trying to redesign, but I think you get where I'm coming from with this. You've got your face on the card for each and every one, plus a face in the back, and that unifies your branding, which looks really good. You got your social media tags here. These social media tags here to let you know where you can find you at. But what you could do is take one image or one overlay of this and just kind of take each face of each one and lay your logo across the entire thing and give yourself more space to actually put out the information instead of having to overlap your B for your B for your B, because this is really it irritates my eye. But outside of that, you get your stream kit, you've got what you get in your stream add-ons. It's just pretty straightforward. This could be broken down much more on your website, but this is a good jump off point for anybody looking to get into your actual DMs for any kind of work. So I'm gonna give this C+, B-, because I like you. All right, next up we got Crucible Daily Effects. He's been in the Destiny community for quite some time, producing graphics, but he's kind of broken off to do his own thing. Kind of get away. He had a huge. I'm pretty sure he has a huge IG account. So what he did was put his into a Google Doc. Now I will say this. This is a little bit visually jarring as a designer. But outside of that, this has everything you need to know about what he offers for his packaging and for his designs. This stuff should all be moved to a website. Full stop. This should all be moved to a website, full stop. Because you can, you've got some pretty badass, examples here, and this needs to be in their own portfolio section. I see you got a link to your Dribble and your Instagram. This needs to live. This content needs to live on its own website. I'm going to say that up front. But you do give you give stuff that would be seen on a website. You give you give your experience. You give places you can find your work at. The only bad thing about this is that it lives inside of a Google Doc. I know it's easier to edit, but this stuff should definitely be living on its own website. And plus, you need to have all this stuff in one place, because jumping from link to link to link and place to place isn't going to be. The thing about people when they reach out for work, they want to be able to find everything in one place. So if you have your website and you have your links going to a link tree where your portfolios in an Instagram, your portfolios in a Dribble, your content information's on a .card or something like that. Unify this as much as possible. Make this as easy as possible for your client to actually find out what you do and where to find out other examples and referrals if need be. But outside of this, the work looks stellar. Information presentation is stellar. It just needs to be on its own website. That's my only gripe with this. That is my one and only gripe. Next up, we got Brigand. Brigand sent me their work. Let me go ahead and click their card. All right. So we got up here, get early slot claiming. Okay, you got form status here. So you got form up here. And this goes to this goes to a form website. Now, one thing I will say about this is I can't tell the difference between, it says line work, and you have an example here, but it's colored. And then there's portrait, black and white, or flat color. But I don't see any black and white examples here. So I'm guessing these would all be 100 because it says portrait here. And I'm guessing these would be considered portraits. Or are these half bodies? These are half, okay. So going back up, I would say this information here needs to be put on top because line work is kind of throwing me off. I'll put the portrait very top to show off, to first explain what they're looking at, and underneath that gives the information of what you're looking at. So portrait, picture. Half bodies, pictures. Also, please put in a black and white example of what that might look like. Is black and white with tones? Is black and white just line art, like black or white background, or is it a grayscale? Because black and white has a bunch of different meanings to people. They go to commission it. It might be a little bit confusing. You got more full body colored. Now this part also I didn't understand because you've got two characters in here. Is this going to be the same price? Because you might want to distinguish that. You got paintings. Okay, so you're going by line art, so you're going to like cell shaded stuff. Then you got paintings. And these are all beautiful, by the way. Portrait, half body, full body. Try to get up a full body example. Try to give a half body example because I believe these are all will qualify as portraits. Illustration, I'm assuming this would all be considered illustration though. This needs to be like a full illustration with backgrounds. Is that what you mean by that? Give a little bit more detail about what you mean by illustration. Terms and conditions, super important to have. I was late to the train on this one. You got things you do, things you don't do. You got discounts, you got payment information, copyright info. This is all made beautifully. This is on a CARRD.co, so a card website. I wish they make a website with their name so you can lock that stuff in and give yourself a larger place to put a larger gallery at and give yourself multiple pages. But outside of that, presentation, I'm gonna give it a C. The work is an A+, but presentation and clarity of what we're looking at needs to be a bit more clear, just a little bit clearer. When you put down line work, tell people what line work is, because a lot of people won't understand the difference between line work and painting. That's an assumption as artists we have that line work and painting, people should know the difference, but it wouldn't hurt to give a little bit of a breakdown of what you get in line work and what you get with painting. But let's move on. Let's see here. Next up, we got Rhetoric. Rhetoric sent me a stream style. He sent me his website, or their website. Ooh, does it work? Oh, there we go. All right. So we got pricing, we got branding, basic logo, mascot logo, 3D logo. Okay. We got breakdowns for everything. This all looks really clean. This is really well presented. This is like branding. I'm looking for, and the boldness of each one pops up immediately. That's kind of what you want when you go to have your list up. And I like that it's all, perfectly, spaced out from left to right. Got request a quote. I don't see a gallery here though. Homepage. Oh man, where's the gallery at? We need a gallery here, yo. Pricing, presentation, A+. What I'm getting with that, what that stuff looks like, I got to give you an F because I don't see anything. You did put one little. You gave me a picture of your emotes, but not the branding, none of the other things you actually offer. So we would need to see that information as, to make sound judgments as, possible consumers. But this, Twitch emotes by Rhetoric, it wouldn't hurt to have your social media tag on here somewhere. Or website link to, website actually written out in case somebody copies this for later and sends this to their friend. You can't assume everybody's going to know where your actual account is at, because it says Rhetoric, but your Twitter name is It's Rhetoric. So you might want to clarify that. Kind of like in the first example we had with Vandalite. You see at the bottom he has this little bar here that kind of gives him a nice, good description of what you're going to be seeing and where you can find them at. That's super important. Super important. All right. We got Sheriff Perek. This is a two-parter. One's okay, and we got an animated one. Okay, let's go back here. Number one, I would say. This artwork looks really good, but you've tried to cram so much information onto this one that's a little bit hard to see the detail in each one. I would say pick 3, 2 to 3. For your character references and printables artwork, I would put 2 to 3 examples, and use that information. And then you have the space around here that's not really helpful. This could be stretched out more, and the weights of these can be a little bit smaller. When you click the full screen, I get more detail out of reading your name than I actually do seeing the tattoos in one of your characters. We got emojis and badges. This looks really good. These are great examples. This one looks way better than this one. This is way more organized than the first one. But this green, I'm sure these are your colors. This is a little bit distracting. I might want to go with a darker color here. Maybe like put a black overtone to kind of just dim that green a little bit so my eyes aren't sucked to it. Because the white on the green isn't the best contrast, and it blends in a little bit. Not much, but enough to be a little bit distracting. Then we got an animated one. Can I click it? There we go. Oh, you can't make these bigger, that's right. So these are animated commissions, depending on the amount of frames. Example. This looks really good. The animation look great. I would just, the same notes from before, just kind of bringing things back and not making them as heavy. Giving a little bit darker tone on the outside. And if you can, try to get the weights and the spacing a little bit more uniform. Because right now, this it's a little bit jarring. Either space these out so they're all, flush or something. So I think they're a little bit off and it's a little bit distracting to the eye. Like this one is super tall and it kind of blends onto the top one of this. Like you kind of get them the same height if you can. Outside of that, I'm going to give this... Okay, I'm gonna give the first one. I gotta give like a D on the first one because I can't see the details in here. The artwork looks phenomenal, but the presentation I gotta give it a D. This is a B. This is a B. The only thing this background's a little bit throwing me off. And oh, we got another one. Okay, so it's 3. Icons of temple art. Simple art. You may want to tell. You may want to let people know exactly what qualifies as simple and what qualifies as an icon, because the detail in these are quite similar. You know, there are two characters here, but the detail looks a little bit similar. This looks a little bit simpler, but you may want to clarify that what's what for this. All right, let's see if we have any more entries here. Kozu, straight to the point, sketch, illustration, dynamic. What's going to be the difference between a dynamic and an illustration? Why is it an extra $100? Is the characters in the back? This needs a better breakdown. This needs to have your social media tags in it. Because right now it's not really giving me much in how to find you if this gets broken up from your social media. What's the difference between illustration and dynamic? Because every person that goes to commission you won't know what dynamic is. Right now, I'm not exactly sure what dynamic is going to be qualifying as. So super important. And is this piece finished? Because it's you know, you may want to, you know, go back and try to like find, or either finish finalize this, because some of the characters in the background don't look done. You know, there's heavy detail on the handles, but not on this one. Like there's shading everywhere else, but when you do these, you want to present your best. You want to put your best foot forward that gets you in the door. Sketch looks beautiful, illustration looks beautiful. This looks unfinished, so I'm not sure exactly if do I want to put my foot forward for $300 for this. I'm not sure exactly what I'm getting. So try to get a better example for your dynamic work, and then try to explain to people, either via website or through a small description, what it is and what does dynamic mean, and some social media tags. So this I gotta give it a D-. A+ work on the art though. So. All right, we got Alaric Rosemond. This is straightforward. This is nice and clean. This got the tag here. They must do like just very simple commissions here. They offer like one kind of thing. There are no backgrounds. Oh, when do we got backgrounds? BlizzCon badges. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Oh, these are must be for World of Warcraft. So this must be like kind of a WoW-centric commission artist. But bust, no, this is all straightforward. I would definitely pick a different font for each of these. So maybe a heavier font for bust, hips, waist, and full body. Kind of bring this character over to center, because right now there's this space here. Don't be afraid to like center this and let that hand overlap a little bit over the top of this to give it a little bit more depth. But this does give you a straightforward bust, hips, weight. This looks pretty good. This gives you a good idea of what's going to be entailed in this. And if you move this left, you can kind of make this logo a little bit bigger on the left right here in the very bottom. The colors are flat and they're desaturated, which makes the character pop, which I love, number one. But you may want to do a right alignment here, or right alignment for some of this information to kind of give it a little bit better graphic design flair. So some small text changes, some line weight changes would do this great, or do this well. And if you can, try to layer it and give you an example of a flat and full color shading. Is this flat or is this full color? You gotta let people know the difference between the work. So give them an example of both of what they might be getting at. Give them an example, a small example of what a character mount or a background or what little things are. Because if I'm looking at it, I don't know what that is or what it offers. Or conversely, link to a website that has a portfolio of what those things may be and give a good definition of them. Because I've reached out to him like, I don't know what any of this means. You have to go through a longer process, and you're wasting time. You're wasting your time and the client's time. So, outside of that, I'm gonna give this a B, solid B, because that looks really good, straightforward. I like it. Next up, we got Holly Hammer. Now this, they went a little bit. They gave an example of both things. Like you got the black and white. You see it kind of the color drain out. That's pretty inventive. I like that a lot. The one thing I would say here that makes this a little bit dated is the amount of gradient. Gradient work, gradient colors aren't super appealing. Like you have this badass character here, but this gradient isn't really selling you on what's going on here. This is it's like this. You got this scarred warrior and you got this rainbow colored background. You may want to try to match the background a little bit to what you're presenting, or pick one color like either solid blue and then like use the white for your information. But I think you can do a little bit more. This and this here, I can't. No one can. This is a little bit too hard to read. You may want to pick a different font for this. This is the detail here is kind of crunched in here in this. You get all this space here, right? This could be just plain font, just on the page. It doesn't need to be like this. And I will move away from this kind of font because it's a lot harder to read for people. It's very thin, and it's going to be a lot. It's going to make this a little bit harder for people to digest. And the hardest for people the harder is for the information is to be digested is the least like they'll reach out to you. You got your full body, half body, and bust. I believe this information can be moved up to the base of the foot to align that. And it wouldn't hurt to swap these, like make to make the prices bold like this, and go with the lighter font for these, and kind of give this more of a right alignment here, because you got this weird spacing that's kind of choking the eye. You can move this over a little bit to center. This part up top, I like the way this looks. This commission hammer, and this looks really good. Make your name a little bit bolder, and add a little bit of an ad. Twitter, add your Twitter, your Ko-Fi, add those little symbols in there. Let people know where they can find you at. I'm gonna give this a C+. I'm gonna give this a C+. It's got great information. The presentation just needs a little bit more improvement. The weights of the fonts are a little bit jarring, but outside of that, artwork looks great. I can tell what's being offered here, but this needs to be a little bit more and put in our terms of service or something. Let people know exactly what that is, and make it have it fit the square as best you can. All right, and that's it. I'm gonna leave it there. And next week, I'm gonna come back and I'll show you guys how to place your art and make some content, some social media platform aware content, commission sheets to use on social media. I will be going over a little bit of stuff on my website, but I'm going to be going over how to present your work to potential clients on social media through your Twitter, your Instagram, your Ko-Fi, etc., etc., etc. Outside of that, this stuff looks great. I hope these tips I'm giving you are going to be a little bit more helpful in the future. And if anybody I reviewed here wants to reach out to me as a thank you for letting me use your commission sheets for a little bit of extra help, swing by my stream. I'll be more than happy to help you out. We'll pull it apart and we'll put it back together. You can find me on twitch.tv/YoungKhan. Outside of that, news, we got big news coming. We got a big drop coming on the 1st of October. Along with, I've got so much news coming next month, you guys won't even believe it. I don't even believe it. But stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for coming by. Tune in next week. We'll be releasing a little bit more of a breakdown of how to make a commission sheet and how to make it work well. So, with that, be cool and all that. And keep fighting the good fight.